Remember that one time that somebody in Hollywood land decided to make a Curious George movie? Yeah, that happened. Curious George, for those of you that don't know, is a series of children's books by H.A. Rey. Detail the adventures and mishaps of a monkey that lives with the man with the yellow hat. It's actually one of my personal favorite children's books out there.
And then they made a movie out of it.
I have no clue who thought it was a good idea to make a Curious George movie, but this exists. And because this is the 2000s we're talking about, of course there was a video game adaptation of it. Two, actually. One for the Game Boy Advance and one for the GameCube. As for the movie itself, it's okay. I enjoyed it a lot as a kid. I think the animation has definitely held up over the years. It's the main highlight to me.
We can't spend our lives looking at the good, right? Let's say goodbye to mediocrity and jump straight into the garbage.
Let's start with the one on Game Boy first, since that's the one that's apparently the shortest of the two. Right off the bat, you've got some less than stellar music at the title screen, and you're thrust right into the game's riveting plot, accompanied by a picture that doesn't really look like it's loading correctly. And it's a painfully average side scroller. Something interesting about this game is that it has really weird sound effects for everything. Like, George sounds weird. You can interact with objects in the environment, which will net you fireflies, which, as far as I know, will get you nothing. Fireflies seemingly don't do anything except contribute to a higher score. Right from the start, the game requires you to do this sort of long jump, but the controls are really iffy with this. I don't know really how to explain it. Everywhere that I don't need to use the long jump, it works fine. But everywhere you do need to use it, I don't know, it's like you have to press the run button and then very quickly let go of it slightly before you press jump and then it'll work. But the thing is, you have to be frame perfect with this. You can see how many times I messed this up. What the f is this thing? This boat level. It is terrible. I'm gonna be honest, this game was just so mediocre that I couldn't really bring myself to finish it. After hearing this ear-destroying boat level music for long enough, I realized what I'm doing with my life and quit.
So let's move on to the greater of the two evils, the GameCube version. Now, I actually beat this version as a kid, so that's either a testament to the game's quality or stupidity on my part.
Oh hey, look at that! I can get a free movie ticket to see Curious George in theaters. Oh wait, up to $6.50 value. It's like, what, 60% of a modern day ticket? This game blows. I feel like it says something when the Game Boy version's title screen is more visually interesting than the console counterpart. The game starts the same way the movie does. Kinda. I'm pretty sure it assumes you've seen the movie before you played the game, but I haven't rewatched anything in years, nor do I have any intent to do so. The man in the yellow hat, or as they call him in this movie, Ted, finds a red idol, which he was apparently going to debut to the world at some museum he works at. Fortunately for him, a hearty dose of reality kicks in, and as it turns out, it's not actually 10 stories tall. It's more like one of those keychains you get at a science museum's gift shop. Ted's just about to begin a life of severe depression when suddenly, I don't know, cutscene just kinda ends anticlimactically. And then we get into the actual game. First off, good God, this game's audio! It seems like every 5 seconds George has to remind you that not only is he a monkey, he's a monkey that makes monkey noises. First of all, that shit's annoying. Second of all, who thought of this? I want to imagine the guy who thought this was a good idea having the game be all like, yes, this is a game about Curious George, sure is something, right? But you know what? I'm worried kids will forget that they're playing a Curious George game. We should make it so that every 5 seconds, Curious George will make an annoying as fuck monkey sound, really drill it into their brains that yes, you are in fact playing a Curious George game. I knocked the audio in the GBA version for being weird, but nearly all the annoying audio pieces there were actually kinda avoidable if you were good at the game somehow. Then this game comes along, every banana you get, every jump you make, every object you interact with, George will not shut up. As for the actual gameplay, it's clunky to say the least. Moving around is fine for the most part, that is until you decide to jump, which is 90% of this game's gameplay. You know what I have no clue about until I found out by complete accident? George has a double jump. You heard that right, a double jump. However, it's the most finicky thing I've ever experienced in my life. Remember how bad I said the long jump was in the Game Boy version? Yeah, doing a double jump is like that except 10 times worse. It's so weird, it's like so picky with what you have to do. I beat this game and I still have no clue what triggers it. It's like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but like the Game Boy version, it seems to work when it doesn't need to and not work when it does. +1 for continuity, I guess. There's this lily pad section where you have to steer a lily pad down the river, which works well enough except for when this shit happens. Pretty soon after this level's over, but then we get to the greatest part of any game ever made. Here, you're in what looks to be some marketplace and you're supposed to jump on top of people's hats to get across without being seen. I have issues with this. See, the thing is, despite the game telling you not to be seen, not only is it highly unlikely that someone wouldn't notice a f***ing monkey jumping on their head, they actually acknowledge that he's jumping around on them.
So why do you have to restart when you fall off? They know that you're there. What, jumping around on top of their head is fine, but walking on the ground where it'd actually be bothering less people isn't?
The other issue is, when you fall, which with these awful controls will probably happen a lot, you have to restart this entire section. Not too big of an issue, except every time you fall, you're treated with this.
Back to the jungle with you!
This looks really f***ing dumb. Not only that, but when you hear it multiple times in a row, it starts to go from funny to not so funny to flat out irritating. Once you get across, you see Ted board a ship and, oh, that's nice, it has the original author's name as the name of the ship. Cool little detail.
Remember how bad I said the ship level was in the Game Boy version? It's nothing compared to how bad the GameCube version is.
There's actually not a whole lot of platforming in the first part of this level. You start off in this fairly small storage area and your goal is to get to the surface of the ship. That's not the bad part. This works well enough. Once you get to the surface is when things start to go all downhill.
Now, I love rhythm games. It just feels so satisfying to fully master a song and then, show it off. Everything's just so fast-paced and exciting, man. Curious George has a rhythm game section. Notice those air quotes.
First of all, there's no real music to time the button presses with. It's the same exact music you've been hearing throughout the entire level. When you progress through the rhythm game sections, it starts adding this really weird beat that also doesn't line up with the button presses. Some mediocre platforming later, George decides to overdose on bananas and sleep the rest of the boat trip. Once he wakes up, George obtains the power of literal gods and does some sick parkour while following Ted throughout the city. If only you could actually do any of that in actual gameplay. Nope. This next level in the city involves George jumping across cars. Pretty much you just have to jump on the taxis with yellow lights and you'll get through easily enough. Except for the fact that jumping pretty much halts you in midair. This paired with the awful controls makes this section way harder than it needs to be. Here's this level. There's not much to talk about here. I don't even think this place was in the movie. George follows Ted to his apartment, and after literally destroying other people's property, he goes into his room. Let's talk about this for a sec. George is actually somehow more annoying than just the stupid sounds he makes. He is a public nuisance. He's tampered with construction sites, destroyed cargo, made suitcases explode. Curious George is a criminal. Why has nobody done anything about this? The only person that seems to actually care about the issues he's causing is the apartment manager. Which leads us to this level.
You like that segue?
At the start of this level, you have to make your way out of the bathroom since the anti-pet apartment manager is trying to get George. And oh boys, he's certainly trying. You know, if you count standing outside knocking on the door as trying.
He doesn't know it's a monkey. At this point, he can only determine that George is a pet. What do you think will happen exactly? If it were literally any other animal that wasn't a monkey, how does he think they're gonna come out of the bathroom?
Better question, why doesn't he just open the door to the bathroom? Maybe he's just trying to be polite. You know, maybe he's not as bad as we're making him out to be. Well, unfortunately for us, George escapes out of the bathroom and then proceeds to break into other people's apartments. Well, it's probably not really breaking or entering since everybody literally just leaves their doors open.
See, this apartment complex runs on the greatest security system no money can buy. The trust system.
And then after all that, there's another rhythm game section!
Nope. I'm done. I'm so